Deep within an ancient forest, hidden between misty mountains, a tiger cub named Ara was born. He was small, with fur the color of sunrise and bright, curious eyes. His parents, proud and strong, taught him everything a tiger should know: how to hunt, how to move silently, how to listen to the whispers of the wind. Life was a gentle rhythm of learning and play, a peaceful existence under the watchful eyes of his family. But one stormy night, everything changed. The sky turned a menacing dark. Thunder roared like a furious beast, and heavy rain swept through the forest. Trees cracked and fell as the wind howled, tearing through their peaceful home. In the terrifying chaos, little Ara was swept away by a rushing, overflowing stream. When the storm finally passed and a weak dawn broke, he awoke alone, cold, and in a part of the forest he had never seen before. It was a strange and silent world, stripped of everything he knew and loved. At first Aro cried out for his parents, his small voice swallowed by the vast, dripping silence. Only the echo of his own desperation answered him. He wandered aimlessly, his tiny body trembling with cold and fear. As night fell, strange eyes began to glow from the deep shadows, watching him. A paralyzing fear filled his tiny heart. Yet, as he curled up for shelter under a fallen tree, a new feeling began to stir within him. He whispered to himself, a small promise in the face of overwhelming darkness. If I want to survive, I must be brave. Days turned into a grueling test of survival. Aro learned to eat what he could find: bitter insects, sour wild berries, anything to quiet the gnawing hunger in his belly. He tried to mimic his parents' hunting lessons, attempting to catch small animals, but he failed every single time. His inexperience and size were a constant disadvantage. During one desperate search for food, he stumbled into a trap left by human hunters. His leg caught in its cruel grip. The pain was unbearable, but he refused to give up. He dragged himself to a nearby stream, washed the wound as best he could, and found a hidden place to wait for it to heal. Looking at his frightened reflection in the water, he saw a weak, terrified cub. He murmured, his voice cracking, "Someday, I won't be afraid of the tiger I see." With each passing day, Aro grew stronger. The forest, once a place of terror, slowly became his teacher. He learned to move quietly through the tall grass, his paws barely making a sound. He began to feel the rhythm of the forest, the subtle shifts in the wind, the vibrations in the earth. He learned when to strike and, more importantly, when to hide. Each scar he collected became a memory, a permanent reminder of a lesson learned. Each failure taught him something new about his own limits and the world around him. His senses sharpened, his instincts honed by necessity. One morning, while searching for food, Aro heard a faint, desperate cry. He followed the sound and found a young deer caught in a hunter's net, struggling helplessly. A part of him, the hungry part, saw an easy meal. But when he looked into the deer's eyes, he saw the same terror he had felt so many times himself. He remembered the loneliness, the feeling of being trapped and powerless. In that moment, he made a choice. He ignored the hunger pangs and began to bite and claw at the thick ropes, until the deer was finally free. The little deer, stunned for a moment, then bolted into the safety of the woods. Aro watched it go and continued on his path in silence. For the first time, he understood that real strength wasn't just in claws or teeth, but in kindness. Seasons changed. Winter's chill gave way to the warmth of spring, and spring blossomed into a long, hot summer. Aro grew larger, faster, and wiser. His sunrise-colored fur was now marked with the scars of his journey, each one telling a story of survival. One dry summer afternoon, lightning struck a dead tree, and a fire began to spread with terrifying speed. Smoke filled the air, and flames rose high, consuming everything in their path. Aro ran for safety, his powerful legs carrying him away from the danger. But then, he heard cries, the panicked sounds of young animals trapped by the inferno. Without a second thought, it turned bike. He charged into the blinding smoke and suffocating heat, his roar cutting through the crackle of the flames. He found a group of terrified young animals huddled together, and he guided them, pushing and nudging them towards safety. When they finally reached a clearing beyond the fire's reach, Aro collapsed, his fur scorched, his body trembling with exhaustion. But he was alive, and so were they. He had faced the fire and emerged not just a survivor, but a savior. Years passed. Aro became the undisputed ruler of the forest. He was a magnificent, full-grown tiger, his body a canvas of deep scars, his eyes calm and knowing. His powerful roar echoed through the valleys, but it was no longer a sound of aggression or threat. It was a reminder of endurance, a symbol of the strength that comes from overcoming hardship. The animals of the forest respected him, not out of fear, but out of admiration for the king who had been forged in the fires of adversity. One day, he found himself back at the very same stream where he had once seen his own frightened reflection. He peered into the clear water. The tiger staring back at him now was not a scared, lonely cub. It was a creature of immense power, unyielding and proud. A soft smile touched his lips, and he whispered to the wind, a message carried back through time. "I made it, Mother." From that day on, the animals of the forest passed down the story of the tiger who never gave up. The legend of the cub who learned that true courage is born from struggle, and that even the smallest, most frightened creature can rise above any fear if it simply refuses to quit. If this story touched your heart and inspired you, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way, you won't miss out on more tales of courage, hope, and strength. Every click helps this channel bring more stories like Aro's to life. Thank you for watching.